How you guys doing? It is Friday, September 18th, 2020 out here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to take you through yesterday's games. Of course, week two in football, playoff basketball, playoff hockey, and of course, some baseball thrown in there. So, of course, I'm going to start with the NFL. Of course, one game was played last night. It was an AFC North matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Also, a matchup between two former Heisman winners, as Joe Burrow, who won the Heisman this past season, took on Baker Mayfield, who I think won it in 2018 for the 2017 season. Don't take my word for it. But with that said, the Cleveland Browns were able to beat the Cincinnati Bengals 35-30 to get their first win of the season. And additionally, but the Bengals would play a great game. For them, Joe Burrow would finish throwing for 316 yards while completing 37 passes. That's a rookie record in a game. And he threw 3 touchdowns, no picks. Amazing game for him. On the ground, Joe Mixon would be their biggest runner with 46 yards and 16 carries. Tyler Boyd would finish with 72 yards on 7 receptions and a touchdown the night. Elite wide receiver AJ Green would finish with 29 yards on 3 receptions on the day. Joe Burrow would also fumble twice, and just looking to see how they did on the defensive side of the ball. Not much. They had no sacks on the day, but of course Jesse Bates III would lead them in tackles. He had a pretty big game. Now, looking at Cleveland, of course, they were led by their quarterback, Baker Mayfield, who completed 16 of his 23 passes for 219 yards, throwing for 2 touchdowns and a pick. On the ground, Nick Chubb would add 124 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day. He'd also had 9 receiving yards, too. Kareem Hunt would also add in with 86 yards on 10 carries, and he had 15 yards through the air and a touchdown. Incredible 1-2 punch that the Cleveland Browns are really showing to have. And of course, their elite wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. would finish with 74 yards on 4 receptions and a touchdown. He had a pretty big game as well. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Anthony Sandejo would lead the team in tackles with 7, of course. Just looking, their defensive tackle, Sheldon Richardson, would finish with 6 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 of them for loss. And their elite defensive end, Myles Garrett, would finish with a sack on the day, as he had 3 tackles on the night. With this win, the Cleveland Browns are now 1-1. They are tied for the most wins in the AFC North as of right now. I mean, it's only week 2, but I mean, that's pretty much how that whole thing goes. But they're still behind the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are both currently sitting in the AFC North with 1-0 records. And with football not picking up until Sunday, I'm going to transition to the NBA playoff bubble just to show you what's going on out there. In Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals yesterday, the Miami Heat, the 5th seed, were able to beat the Boston Celtics, the 3 seed, 106-101 to take a 2-0 series lead in the Eastern Conference Finals, setting them up to be 2 wins away from a place in the NBA Finals. For the Boston Celtics, just looking at how they were doing, their guard, Marcus Smart, would finish with 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. And his steals, he shot 5 for 13 from the field in 38 minutes. Additionally, their elite forward, Jason Tatum, finished with 21 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block, as he shot 6 for 12 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, and 9 for 11 from the free throw line. Jaylen Brown also finished with 21 points and 6 rebounds, as he shot 8 for 14 from the field. And Kemba Walker, their elite point guard, was their highest scorer. He finished with 23 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and a couple of steals, as he shot 9 for 19 from the field, 4 for 11 from 3, and he made 1 of his 2 free throw attempts. Now looking at how Miami did, off the bench, Tyler Hero, their young shooting guard out of Kentucky, would finish with 11 points on 12 shot attempts with 9 rebounds and 5 assists in 32 minutes. Out of their starters, Jay Crowder would finish with 12 points, 4 rebounds, and a couple of assists. Their forward, Jimmy Butler, who was named to the NBA All-Third team, finished with 14 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 steals. And I'm going to recognize him as elite, and I will start calling him so. He finished 4 for 11 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, and he made all 6 of his free throw attempts. Duncan Robinson finished with 18 points and 4 assists, as he shot 6 for 12 from the field. Bam Adebayo, the Heat's young power forward out of Kentucky, he finished with 21 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and a couple of steals, as he shot 10 for 16 from the field, and also had probably the best play of the game. He had a second quarter alley-oop dunk from Kendrick Nunn. It was a pretty nice play. I liked it. And then their point guard Goran Dragic would be their biggest performer as he finished with 25 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists on the night. He shot 10 for 19 from the field in 34 minutes. With this win, like I said, the Miami Heat now lead this series 2-0 as this series is really starting to pick up, and now the Boston Celtics, their back is against the wall right now. Looking forward to today, the Denver Nuggets will take on the Los Angeles Lakers for Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals after beating the Los Angeles Clippers in 7. That game will take place on TNT at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's a big game to look forward to. I'm just really looking forward to see how this series pans out with how both of these teams got here. So that's going to be very interesting. Really quickly, just taking you over to the WNBA bubble because, of course, the playoffs have started. Starting with the second round, the Minnesota Lynx were able to beat the Phoenix Mercury 80-79 off of Damaris Dantas 22 points and 8 rebounds. Diana Taurasi finished with 28 points, 4 rebounds, and 9 assists in her last game, and it just wouldn't. This one would go the Lynx way. They will go on to advance. And the Connecticut Sun will go on to beat the Los Angeles Sparks 73-59 to eliminate them. DeWanna Bonner finished with 17 points and 13 rebounds as the Sun will advance to the very next round. And their play doesn't pick up until Sunday, where the WNBA semifinals will be played between the Sun and the Aces on one side, and then you'll see the Lynx and the Storm on the other side. I'm going to take you really quick to the Stanley Cup bubble just to show you what's going on there because, of course, it is Friday. And just looking into last night's game because, of course, it's the Stanley Cup final and everything is getting super interesting. The Tampa Bay Lightning were able to beat the New York Islanders 2-1 to advance to the Stanley Cup final, of course, with the help of their center Anthony Cirelli, who ended up getting a really big goal for them. They would go on to advance against the Islanders and now they're gonna go on to compete in the Stanley Cup final against the Dallas Stars, starting on Saturday, I believe. Starting at 7:30, it'll be tomorrow at 7:30. In Edmonton in that bubble, but as of right now, 2 teams remain, and it was a very big game, in the Western just for them to get to where they are now. But without further ado, I'm going to jump into baseball just to fill you guys in as to how the playoff picture is looking over there. Starting out west, the Los Angeles Dodgers were able to pick up their 36th win of the season already after clinching the playoffs by beating the Rockies 9-3. Dylan Floro would pick up his second win of the season as Kyle Freeland picked up his second loss of the season. Warriors would get the start, allowing 2 earned runs and 2 strikeouts and 5.2 innings pitched. Just looking at how the Colorado Rockies did, their third baseman Nolan Arenado would finish 0-for-4 on the day. Trevor Story, their shortstop, would hit his 11th home run of the season as he finished 2-for-4 with an RBI and 2 runs on the day. And Pilar would finish 2-for-4 with an RBI. Looking out to the Dodgers, their elite right fielder Mookie Betts would go 1-for-5 with an RBI and a run. Corey Seager, their shortstop, would hit his 13th home run of the season as he finished 3-for-5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Justin Turner, their designated hitter, went 2-for-5 with a run. And their elite center fielder, Cody Bellinger, would go 1-for-3 with 2 walks on the day. With this win, the Dodgers are 36-15, and the Rockies are now 22-27 currently on the season. Speaking of LA, jumping out to Anaheim, the Los Angeles Angels hosted and beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 7-3 last night. Canning would pick up the win as he allowed 1 earned run, 2 runs total. He struck out 7 batters in 5 innings. Just great overall game for the Los Angeles Angels. But first, jumping out to Arizona, their designated hitter, Christian Walker, would go 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run. And additionally, their shortstop, Nick Ahmed, would go 1-for-4 with an RBI. And also their first baseman, Pavin Smith, would go 2-for-4, and he'd have a pretty big game for them. But of course, the Angels would have the better game. Starting with their second baseman, David Fletcher, would go 3-for-5 for the day with a run. Their GOAT level center fielder, Mike Trout, would go 1-for-3 with 2 RBIs on the day. Their elite third baseman, Anthony Rendon, would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as the third baseman hit his 9th home run of the season, the only home run for the Angels. Their future Hall of Fame designated hitter, Albert Pujols, finished 2-for-4 with a run on the day. And for the Angels, their right fielder, Taylor Ward, would go on to finish 3-for-4 with 2 runs on the day. With this win, the Angels are 21-30, and the Diamondbacks fall to 19-32. In the NL West, And jumping out to Seattle, the Mariners hosted the Giants but lost. They scored all 4 of their runs in the second inning, and the San Francisco Giants scored 5 in the 6th and 7th inning total, just to kind of take the game back after they were down 4-1 for most of the game. Looking at how they did, Mark Avicius would get the start for Seattle. He'd allow 3 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, striking out 3. And then just looking at how they were hitting for the day, their shortstop, J.P. Crawford, did finish 1 for 5 with 2 RBIs on the day. No one on their team had more than 1 hit. But, I mean, they were still kind of getting it going. Looking out to San Francisco, by the way, their pinch-hitting right fielder, Luis Alexander Basabe, finished 1 for 2 with 2 runs on the day as he walked twice. Their first baseman, Wilmer Flores, would finish the day 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Their left fielder, Darren Ruff, would hit his 4th home run of the season as he finished 1 for 2 with an RBI and a run. And former AL MVP Evan Longoria finished 2 for 4 with an RBI on the day. And not to mention their center fielder, Mauricio Dubon, did finish 2 for 3 with a run on the day. With this win, the San Francisco Giants are 25-24, and the Mariners now drop to 22-28. Right now, looking out to Houston. The Houston Astros hosted their in-state rivals, the Texas Rangers. I don't even know if they're rivals like that. I just said it because it's fun. Frankie Valdez would pick up Framber Valdez would pick up the win for the Astros. He allowed 1 earned run in 6 innings pitched, striking out 11 batters. And the losing pitcher for the Texas Rangers, Jordan Lyles, would only allow 2 earned runs in 7 innings pitched. He struck out 2 batters on the day. The only RBI for the Rangers went to their left fielder, Eli White, who finished 1 for 3 in the day. And looking out to Houston, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, would go 0 for 4 on the day. Their third baseman, Alex Bregman, would go 0 for 2 with a run. And he finished the walk with this win. The Astros are 25-25, and the Rangers are 18-32. Really quickly, just jumping out to the Central just to show you what's going on out there. Jumping out to Chicago, the White Sox hosted the Twins and beat them 4-3. Lopez would get the start as he allowed 3 earned runs and struck out 6 batters. Kenta Maeda would get the start for the Twins as he allowed 2 earned runs in 5 innings, striking out 8 batters. For the Minnesota Twins, mainly Josh Donaldson, their third baseman, went 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the season. Their center fielder, Byron Buxton, did go 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as Byron Buxton hit 2 home runs in this game. But the White Sox were they just had it going for them. Yasmani Grandal, their catcher, finished 2 for 3. Jose Abreu, their first baseman, finished 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 17th home run of the season. And their designated hitter, Edwin Encarnacion, would hit his 9th home run of the season as he went 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. And their right fielder, who went to switch to the left fielder, Jared Dyson, would finish 2 for 4 with a run on the day. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are 33-17, and I believe they're the second team to clinch a playoff spot thus far. And the Minnesota Twins are 31-21 with that loss. Continuing on, jumping out to Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Pirates beat the St. Louis Cardinals at home 5-1, thanks to a 4-run 4th inning and following off with another run in the 5th. It would be Brault who would pick up the win. Steven Brault pitching his first complete game of his career. He would allow 1 earned run in 9 innings pitched, only allowing 2 hits, striking out 8 batters on the day. For St. Louis, Tommy Edman, the third baseman, was the only player to get an RBI on the day. He went 1 for 4. Paul Goldschmidt, their elite first baseman, went 0 for 4, striking out twice. Looking out to Pittsburgh and how they did, the right fielder, Gregory Polanco, would finish 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit his 6th home run of the season. And their second baseman, Kevin Newman, would go 2 for 4 with a run on the day. With this win, those Pittsburgh Pirates are 15-34, and with this loss, the Cardinals are 22-24. Jumping out to Detroit, the Detroit Tigers hosted the Cleveland Indians and lost 10-3. Shane Bieber would pick up his 8th win of the season, allowing 3 earned runs in 7.2 innings pitched, striking out 10 batters. Casey Mize, the Detroit prospect, would allow 5 total runs in 3.2 innings pitched, striking out 1 batter. Looking at to see how the Tigers did, their shortstop Willie Castro did go 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs as he had a 3-run home run to end Shane Bieber's shutout basically. But for Cleveland, they had it going. Their elite shortstop Francisco Lindor went 0 for 4, but he had an RBI and a walk. Their second baseman Cesar Hernandez finished 3 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs on the day. Their third baseman Jose Ramirez would hit 2 home runs. Now he has 13 home runs on the year. He go 4 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs on the day. Accounting for 5 runs on the day. Their first baseman, Carlos Santana, would go 0 for 3, but he'd score twice. And with this win, the Cleveland Indians are 27-23. With this loss, the Detroit Tigers are 21-28. And then last but not least, jumping out east, the Miami Marlins hosted the Boston Red Sox, and the Red Sox were able to get the best of them, beating them 5-3. Eovaldi would get his third win of the season as he pitched 5 innings. He didn't allow a single run. He struck out 7 batters. Urani would pick up the loss for Miami as he allowed 2 earned runs, striking out 6 batters. For the Marlins, their designated hitter Garrett Cooper, I keep doing this. He went 2 for 4 with a run on the day. And their pinch hitter Alfaro would go 1 for 1 with an RBI and a run. He had a pinch hit. He was able to get an RBI and he was able to score. With this, going to Boston, their right fielder, Alex Verdugo, would go 3 for 5 with a run on the day. Their third baseman, Rafael Devers, would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. Devers would hit his 11th home run of the season in the 7th inning to help the Boston Red Sox go up 5-0. The Marlins would score 3 runs that same inning, but it just wouldn't be enough. Continuing on, jumping to Baltimore, the Orioles hosted the Tampa Bay Rays, who lead their division, and the Rays were able to beat them 3-1. Blake Snell would get the start in the 7th inning game. He would only allow 1 earned run in 5 innings, pitch striking out 4. Kramer would get the start for Baltimore as he allowed 1 earned run in 5 innings, pitched striking out 6. For the Orioles, their left fielder Ryan Mountcastle was the only player to get multiple hits. He finished 2 for 3 with an RBI on the day. For the Tampa Bay Rays, they had no players that had 2 hits, but Tsutsugo, Brandon Lau, and their right fielder, Brett Phillips, would have the 3 RBIs to give them the win in the first game of this doubleheader. And jumping to the second game, they were officially the away side, and in 7 innings, they were able to beat the Baltimore Orioles 10-6. Fairbanks would get the win. Mostly a bullpen matchup, but even looking at the Orioles this game, their center fielder, Cedric Mullins, would go 2 for 4 with a run on the day. Their right fielder, DJ Stewart, would go 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. Additionally, their catcher, Chance Sisco, Chance Sisco finished 2 for 3 with a run on the day, and their third baseman, Rio Ruiz, would finish 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 9th home run of the season. Jumping out to the Rays, who won the game, the right fielder Hunter Renfroe would go 1 for 2 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 8th home run of the season in the 3rd inning. Their shortstop, Willy Adames, would go 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs on the day. He hit his 6th home run of the day as well. Their first baseman, Nate Lowe, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. He had a pretty big game as well. And their third baseman, Joey Wendell, would go 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs and a run. Joey Wendell he hit his 3rd home run of the season. And with this win, and with both wins, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 33-18 in the American League East, and the Orioles are now 22-29, having suffered back-to-back losses in the same day. Jumping out to Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies hosted the New York Mets, and the Mets were able to get their win, winning 10-6. After coming down, they were down 6-3 after the 2nd inning, but the Mets would score 3 runs in the 6th to tie it up, and then they'd score 4 in the 9th inning to put them above. Just big plays all around, and it'd be a big home run from Brandon Nimmo, a triple by Dominic Smith, and another home run from Robinson Cano to basically put it away. Aaron Nola will get the start for Philly as he would allow 5 earned runs in a little over 5 innings, striking out 7 batters. Their elite right fielder, Bryce Harper, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit 2 home runs on the day. He now has 10 home runs on the season. Their young third baseman, Alec Boehm, finished 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 4th home run of the season. Their shortstop, Didi Gregorius, would go 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 9th home run of the season. And Gene Segura, their second baseman, would go 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run for the Phillies. Looking out to New York, their center fielder, Brandon Nimmo, will go 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit He hit his 8th home run of the season, and he also hit his 3rd triple of the season to get them where they are. Dominic Smith, their first baseman, will go 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs, and his bat's been very hot because I've been saying his name a lot. Their future Hall of Fame second baseman, Robinson Cano, would go 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a run. He hit his 8th home run of the season in the 9th inning. Big home run for him, big home run for the team. Their elite designated hitter, Pete Alonso, would go 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 12th home run of the season in the 6th inning. With this win, the New York Mets are now 23-27, and with this loss, the Phillies are 24-25. Jumping out to the Yankee Stadium, the Yankees hosted the Blue Jays and beat them 10-7 as Masahiro Tanaka picked up his 3rd win of the season. He's now 3-2. He would allow 3 earned runs in 7 innings pitched, striking out 5 batters. Looking out to how the Blue Jays hit, their shortstop Bo Bichette would go 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs on the day. Their left fielder Lourdes Gurriel Jr. would go 4 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs as he hit 2 home runs on the day. He now has 10 on the season. And of course, their elite designated hitter, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., would go 0 for 4 with a strikeout. And then their catcher, Danny Jansen, would go 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. And looking out to the Yankees, their second baseman, DJ LeMahieu, would go 1 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs, and he walked twice. Their first baseman, Luke Voit, would go 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 20th home run of the season, the first MLB player to hit 20. He did so in the 50th game, which is pretty insane. Their elite designated hitter, Giancarlo Stanton, in his first game back, would go 4 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 4th home run of the season. Their elite shortstop, Gleyber Torres, would go 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run, as Gleyber Torres hit his 3rd home run of the season. Their catcher, Gary Sanchez, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 9th home run of the season. And their left fielder, Brett Gardner, would go 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 5th home run of the season. With this win, the New York Yankees are 29-21, and with this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are now 26-23. Those are the games that have already been played, and just looking forward to the games that are coming up. In terms of what to look for on Friday, because of course there are new series starting up, and there are of course double headers for some teams to get caught up in terms of games played. But starting off, the Cardinals and the Pirates have a double header. Carlos Martinez is taking on Trevor Williams in the first game, and Chad Kuhl's taking on Daniel Ponce de Leon, and the Cardinals are fighting for a playoff spot. The Phillies are taking on the Blue Jays, and I know both those teams are they're fighting for a playoff spot. They have a double header as well. Continuing on, the defending champions Nationals are going to take on the Marlins in a doubleheader. And just looking at the pitching performances, looking to what to look forward to. Max Fried of the Atlanta Braves is 6-0, and he's looking to get his 7th win of the season as he takes on Steven Matz, and the Braves take on the Mets at 7-10. Continuing on, Tyler Glasnow looking to get his 4th win for the Rays. They take on the Orioles at 7:35. Former AL Cy Young Zach Greinke looking to get his 4th win of the season as the Astros take on the Diamondbacks. And Patrick Corbin's looking to get his 3rd win of the season as the Nationals take on the Marlins. That's the second doubleheader. Kyle Hendricks is going to take on Rich Hill at 8:15 as the Twins take on the Cubs. Both those teams have 30 wins. And the last game of the night between Chris Paddock and Yusei Kikuchi. That will kind of end it all up. But with that said, I really appreciate you for listening in. But today is Friday, September 18th, 2020. And I know there's a lot of sports that are coming up tomorrow. But with that said, I hope everything's going well. Once again, thanks for hearing my piece. Peace out.